Hello everyone, welcome to the English Summary YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today we are going to talk about one of the most famous and widely studied tragedies in English literature, Hamlet by William Shakespeare. In this video, we are going to look at the detailed summary of the play, a complete character chart, the revenge play structure, the themes and symbols of the play, critical analysis, and the 7 famous soliloquies of the play. So watch the video until the end. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, then do subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss any updates. Let's dive in. The full name of the play is The Tragedy of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark. When writing about Hamlet, use some of these facts in your summary for 2 to 3 sentences. Examiners will love when you mention these facts on your essay, and this will help you gain that extra mark. Hamlet was originally composed between 1599 and 1601, and it was published in 1623. It follows a traditional 5-act structure of a revenge tragedy and set in the Danish royal court of Elsinore Castle. Hamlet is Shakespeare's longest play and perhaps his most famous one. Moving on, we have the character chart of the play. The characters in Elsinore are deeply complex. First, we have Hamlet, the Prince of Denmark. He is a reflective scholar known for his tragic flaw or hamartia, which is his indecisiveness. Then we have the main villain, Claudius. He is Hamlet's uncle who murdered his own brother, the former king, to seize the throne. Gertrude is the queen and Hamlet's mother. Her hasty marriage to Claudius is what fuels Hamlet's initial disgust for women. Other key characters include Ophelia, Hamlet's love interest, and Horatio, Hamlet's loyal friend and the sole survivor of the play. We also have foils to Hamlet like Laertes, who is Ophelia's brother, and Prince Fortinbras of Norway, who are men of action compared to Hamlet's hesitation. So, to understand and remember this complex web of characters, I have created this character mind map. Feel free to pause the video here and take a screenshot if needed. Now, let us look at the structural framework of a traditional revenge play. Every great tragedy in this genre typically follows 5 key stages. It begins with Stage 1, exposition, where the crime is revealed. Stage 2, anticipation. Stage 3, confrontation. Stage 4, delay, followed by Stage 5, denouement. Other classical examples of this revenge play include Thomas Kyd's The Spanish Tragedy, Shakespeare's own Titus Andronicus, and John Webster's The Duchess of Malfi. But today we are going to explore these 5 stages through the lens of Hamlet. Now let us move on to the summary. Act 1, The Poisoned King, exposition stage. The ghost of the late King Hamlet appears to his son, revealing that he was murdered by his own brother Claudius, who poured poison in his ear. This gives Hamlet his purpose to revenge. Claudius has now seized the throne and married Queen Gertrude. Hamlet is commanded to avenge his father's foul and most unnatural murder. The lines, "Something is rotten in the state of Denmark," is spoken by Marcellus to Horatio in Act 1, Scene 4. It is a very important MCQ. Act 2, The Mask of Madness, anticipation stage. Doubting the ghost, Hamlet devises a plan to confirm Claudius's guilt. He hires a troupe of actors to perform a play. This famous play within the play is called as The Murder of Gonzago, which reenacts the murder his father described. Hamlet puts on an anti-disposition or a mask of madness to confuse the court. Claudius, who is unnerved by Hamlet's behavior, summons his childhood friends Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to spy on him. Hamlet quickly sees through their ruse. Act 3, confrontation stage. During the performance of The Murder of Gonzago, Claudius panics at the depiction of the poison in the ear murder and flees the room, confirming his guilt to Hamlet. Next, Hamlet cruelly rejects Ophelia by lashing out at her, saying, "Get thee to a nunnery," while being aware that they are spied upon by Claudius and Polonius. Next comes Hamlet's tragic flaw of procrastination. Hamlet finds Claudius praying to God. He hesitates to kill him and misses a golden opportunity, believing it would send an argument with his mother, Queen Gertrude. Hamlet mistakenly stabs an intruder hiding behind the curtain, who was actually an eavesdropping Polonius. Act 4 Delay. Using Polonius's death as a pretext, Claudius exiles Hamlet to England, sending Rosencrantz and Guildenstern with a sealed letter ordering Hamlet's execution. However, Hamlet discovers the plot. He forges the letter to order the deaths of his friends instead and escapes back to Denmark. Ophelia is driven mad by her father's death at Hamlet's hands. Ophelia faces a tragic death by drowning. Ophelia's brother Laertes returns to Denmark, consumed by a desire for revenge. He is manipulated by Claudius, who arranges a friendly duel with Hamlet with a poison tipped sword. Act 5 Denouement. Queen Gertrude drinks the poisoned wine intended for Hamlet and dies. Laertes wounds Hamlet with the poisoned sword. In a scuffle, the swords are exchanged, and Hamlet wounds Laertes with the same poisoned sword. A dying Laertes reveals the treachery of Claudius. Enraged by that, Hamlet finally stabs Claudius with the poisoned sword and forces him to drink the remaining poisoned wine. Hamlet, having fulfilled his vow, dies. He asks his loyal friend Horatio to live on to tell his story. Soon, Prince Fortinbras of Norway arrives to claim the Danish throne. Instead of treating Hamlet as a vanquished foe, he recognizes Hamlet's noble spirit. He orders a soldier's funeral, restoring Hamlet's glory and honor, bringing a close to the tragedy. Now let's move on to the main themes of the play. Action versus inaction. Hamlet is a revenge hero who is paralyzed by his own thoughts. His tragic flaw, or hamartia, is his indecisiveness. Appearance versus reality. In the court of Elsinore, nothing is what it seems. Characters hide their true dark intentions behind a mask. Death and decay. Shakespeare uses a lot of imagery related to rot and skulls. This reflects the moral corruption happening in the kingdom. Women and misogyny. Look at the tragic fates of Queen Gertrude and Ophelia. Hamlet's anger towards his mother often channels over into his treatment of all women, religion, and honor. There is a clash between the medieval blood for blood revenge code and the Christian fear of divine judgment. This is exactly why Hamlet hesitates to kill the king when he is praying. Next, look at the symbols. These are visual objects Shakespeare uses to represent bigger ideas. Yorick's skull. This is the most famous symbol. It connects to the death and decay theme. It represents the inevitability of death. That no matter who we are, we all end up the same way. Ears. This is a very clever symbol. King Hamlet was literally murdered by poison in the ear. But ears also represent the gossip, the spying, and lies that poison the entire year of Denmark. Hamlet's black clothing. While everyone else at court is celebrating a new marriage between Claudius and Gertrude, Hamlet stays in black. This symbolizes his grief and his refusal to move on or accept the rotten state of the kingdom. The symbols and themes that we discussed here are a very important part of the play. It is crucial to remember them. Now, coming to the soliloquies. A soliloquy is when a character speaks their inner thoughts aloud to the audience. In Hamlet, these speeches track the prince's psychological journey. The first soliloquy, "Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt," appears in Act 1, Scene 2, where Hamlet is in deep melancholy. He is disgusted by his mother's hasty remarriage and feels that the world is an unweeded garden. Second soliloquy occurs in Act 1, Scene 5, after the ghost has left. "Ho, all of you, host of heaven, ho earth, what else?" He vows to revenge. The third soliloquy occurs in Act 2, Scene 2. "Ho, what a rogue and peasant slave am I." The theme is self-reproach. He is remorseful that he hasn't taken any action for his father's murder. The fourth and the most famous soliloquy occurs in Act 3, Scene 1. "To be or not to be? That is the question." Here, Hamlet takes a philosophical mediation on life and questions the difference between passion and reason. The fifth soliloquy occurs In Act 3, Scene 2, 'tis now the very witching time of night. This happens before he goes to his mother's bedchamber.
The sixth soliloquy, now might I do it pat, now he's praying, occurs in Act 3, Scene 3. This is the procrastination soliloquy. The seventh soliloquy, how all occasions do inform against me, appears in Act 4, Scene 4. We see the resolve finally. Inspired by the army of Fortinbras, Hamlet realizes his thoughts have been bloody, but his actions have been nothing. He finally commits to the revenge without any more delay.
So, what do these soliloquies tell us? They show us that Hamlet is essentially a scholar and a poet. He is a man who thinks so deeply about the consequences of his actions that he becomes a victim of intellectual paralysis. Through these 7 speeches, Shakespeare masterfully portrays Hamlet's hamartia, his tragic flaw of indecisiveness. It is this constant procrastination of action that ultimately leads to the tragic downfall of not just Hamlet but the entire royal house of Denmark. This internal struggle is exactly what makes Hamlet the greatest tragedy ever written. If you found this video helpful, please do like it and subscribe to my channel, The English Summary. So if there is any specific topic you want me to cover next, feel free to leave it down in the comments below. I will be picking my next few video topics directly from your suggestions. I hope this detailed breakdown of Hamlet helps you in your upcoming exams and clears all your doubts. Please share this video with your friends and classmates. Keep studying hard and I will see you in my next one. Bye bye.